This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana makes car selling fast and easy from start to finish. Enter your license plate or VIN and get a real offer in seconds, down to the penny. If you accept, Carvana will come pick up your car from your driveway. Or you can drop it off at one of our car vending machines. Either way, you get paid instantly. It's fast, transparent, and 100% online. Car selling that saves your time. That's Carvana.
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros, word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
Welcome to the Inside Job Boards and Recruitment Marketplaces podcast. Wow, it's such a long title. I stumbled over my own words. No, I don't have to go to the ER, but it's great to be with you. I am Stephen Rothberg. I'm one of your co-hosts. I'm the founder of College Recruiter, and it's great to see my co-host again here today, the illustrious, the one and only, the exemplary Peter Zollman.
Every time you introduce me, you come up with new adjectives. All of them a little weird,
but positive.
And I'm one of the founders of the AIM Group. We provide all sorts of services to job boards and recruitment marketplaces. And we have the annual RecBuzz conference coming up soon. So with us today, we have Julius Probst. He is a PhD labor economist with Appcast and Stepstone. He's based in dreary London. He said it's gray there today. Again, it's only September, so who knows why. But why don't we let you say a little bit about Appcast and Stepstone, and then we'll ask you about job boards, recruitment marketplaces, economy, and the labor market.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks for having me. So as Peter mentioned, I'm the labor economist sitting here in London, writing our Recruitonomics blog, where I provide insights on the UK economy and labor market, continental Europe as well. And Appcast is obviously a global leader in programmatic recruitment. And we are part of the Stepstone group, which is one of the largest job board groups in the world.
Yes, I was looking at a list of all the Stepstone job boards in Latin America and the Caribbean and Europe and all those places, as well as Appcast and a few other things. Quick question about economies and labor markets and job boards. If there are too many people looking for work, it's not a good thing for job boards. If there's nobody looking for work, it's not a good thing for job boards. What's the middle ground, and what can job boards / recruitment marketplaces, and there is a distinction, but it's minor, what can they do to make sure that no matter the economy, they thrive and grow?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I would say that job boards are definitely, to some extent, quite dependent on the health of the economy and the health of the labor market, right? So remember that during a typical year in the US economy, let's say 2018 or 2019, only 2 million new jobs are being created, but maybe 60 million people actually switch jobs, right? So most of the people who are being hired, that is job to job transitions. So during a good year when the economy is doing fine, there's more people hiring, there will be more job to job transitions. And that should be good for job boards actually, right? And when the economy is not doing so well, then there will be less hiring going on and workers will be less able to switch jobs, and then job boards will suffer as well. It will be typically not so good for their revenues.
What I'm hearing is that there's sort of a sweet spot. And I love the question, Peter and Julius, your answer. It sounds like you don't, from the perspective of Appcast, perspective of Stepstone, and I think that we would share that, you don't want to have a labor market as a job board leader. You don't want to have a labor market that's really cold or really hot. Explain the second, because when I've talked to a lot of new job board leaders, they'll say, when the labor market is really hot, that there's 4 available jobs for every available worker, that must be great for job boards. And I think you would disagree with that. Can you explain why a super hot labor market is actually not good for job boards?
No, I would say that typically a hot labor market is not bad for job boards. They
Hmm.
will typically get quite a lot of revenue. They will probably perform well, but they will all struggle with certain aspects, right? So during a very hot labor market, you might have some unhappy customers because recruiters will struggle a lot to find workers, and time to hire will increase substantially as well. And so that in the end, it might look like you are maybe not delivering for your customer. So that's what we saw during 2022, when there were millions of people switching jobs and the labor market was doing very, very well. People were looking for other jobs just to get a higher salary. And for recruiters, it was a very difficult time, obviously. And the time to hire, the time to fill their positions just increased substantially as well.
Is matching easier or harder when there's kind of an imbalance in the market, either too many jobs or not enough jobs? And how do you overcome that?
I would say matching is probably a little bit harder when the economy is super hot, right? If you're a recruiter, from your own perspective, it might just be significantly harder to find the right people with the right skills just because you're competing against everybody else. And then the only way to do that is, or one of the ways to do that is to pay more to attract applicants. So it will just do in a very hot labor market, recruitment will become costlier as well.
So Appcast and Stepstone, as we talked about, global brands, significant presence in the EU, where Stepstone came out of, the UK, where you sit, where Total Jobs is, the US, where Appcast and some other businesses that you guys are involved in. You've got not a unique perspective, but definitely unusual, where definitely one of the leaders in those 3 major markets. What are you seeing from a job board perspective as being different in the EU, the UK, and the US right now? As far as the labor markets go, hot, not hot, good, not good.
Hey, this is Brent Skinner, host of Small Talk Window here at the Work Defined Podcasting Network. Have you ever wanted a short podcast to listen to during a coffee break of your workday? You've come to the right place. My guests dispense with the small talk as quickly as possible and settle into a meaningful conversation around the world of work.
Yeah, so there are definitely some big differences right now. So I don't know to what extent you are following the news about Germany struggling, being basically in a recession. We are losing also, because I am German, but sitting in London. Germany is also losing manufacturing jobs. And so the economy in Germany at the moment is not doing so well. In the UK, performance recently has been actually much better. So the UK was in a shallow recession at the end of last year, but is now coming out of it. Some 100,000 payroll jobs being created over the last 6 months. Not spectacular, but not bad. And economic growth has been higher. So even within Europe, there are some interesting divergences right now.
Here's a macroeconomy question for the economist. With long-term demographic shifts in most developed countries, the birth rates have been dropping, the number of adults has been dropping, et cetera. Are we going to face kind of permanent labor shortages in 7, 8, 10 years? And number one, what impact does that have on job boards? And number two, will AI fix all of that? Two-part question. Easy.
Easy.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. So yeah, again, I think we will definitely see some of that. Ground zero for demographics is probably Japan, which already has a shrinking population and a very rapidly aging workforce. Germany is following that trend quite rapidly. We've had very low fertility for decades. So we are also already having kind of a stagnating workforce. However, we are also having much more migration in Europe, and particularly Germany right now, than Japan. So we're compensating some of that, right? So the population projections from 10 years ago, they're actually a little bit outdated because we've had so much inflow of foreign workers as well. So that's one good thing, but demographics are definitely still heading in the direction of worker shortages. And that means that probably job boards will be more needed than ever because recruiters will face difficulties to hire. And if you have labor shortages, then time to hire will increase. So you should expect that to go up in the long run if you have more and more worker shortages.
I'm glad that you mentioned the migration, the immigration. Recently for Germany and the UK is certainly like that too, a lot from Ukraine. Right before that, it was a lot from like Syria, Turkey, etc. I hope there's not going to be another big crisis, war like that, but people are people. And so it is a way of offsetting a lot of the lower birth rates. I think we have time for one more question. And so I'm going to grab it, Peter. My apologies in advance. If I was a job board owner or somebody starting a job board, and I was debating the EU market or perhaps with a market within the EU, like say Germany, France, whatever, or the UK or the US. And I was to come to you and say, which one should I choose? Based on labor markets, where would you put your nickel down?
Or which niche in your country would you focus on?
Sure.
Yeah, so I would probably either choose the US or Germany. The US, just because it's the biggest market, right? So you might just have more. If you have a bigger addressable market, that's always good for your business. Alternatively, Germany, because time to hire over the last 10 years has just increased. So actually hiring in Germany is more expensive than in a lot of other European countries. It's more expensive than in the UK. So you can probably charge somewhat higher prices as well.
Well, that tells us where we should go. It's interesting that you say the US is the largest market because, of course, China and India are much larger, but their market dynamics are much different, both in the job board industry and in the labor markets. Fascinating places. And we take a look at them at the AIM group from time to time. China is very tough for us to get visibility. India, we have pretty good visibility into. It's an interesting market. We would love to spend another 15 minutes, but if we do, then the, ding dong, the witch is dead or something like that. So we're out of time, but we appreciate it. I will see you, I'm sure, at RecBuzz, if not sooner. Thank you very much for joining us. Stephen, this is number 80. I will see you in 2 weeks. To our audience, thank you for being there. And we'll see you all again in 2 weeks or sooner if something big happens. And thank you very much.
Julius, it's been awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Peter. And see you at RecBuzz again.
See you.
Cheers.
Cheers.